I know we're touching a lot of subjects here today, and I know I'm kind of giving you sensory overload, and there's probably about, I'm not sure, maybe I want to say 20 videos that are coming up today. And I know that's overwhelming for you, and I appreciate those of you that have been keeping up with this series and giving me your time and your energy, and that are open to all this refinement and all this information that I'm sharing with you. And I'm being called to tell you not to just take my word for it. You have to do your own homework. And I can create a process where on my YouTube channel I can create the playlist and create a space so you can go on there and go through it publicly and find some information. And a lot of it is really out there, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I'll tell the truth, I need to do some homework on it myself and probably start a new playlist of different information things I need to share with you. Now, one will be spiritual. I'd love to do one on Saturn. All that Saturn stuff. I don't even know where to begin, and as I've said before, I'm not officially knowledgeable to truly talk about these things. However, there are people that know a lot. However, there are people that have their own agendas and their own egos and shadows attached to their enlightenment process of sharing information with you. So some things are tilted more towards one side and trying to take you away from things. From my own personal experience, I can tell you that my intuition is called to push you to drink distilled water. I know that you have all this misinformation. I would love for you to listen to Andrew Weber, not Andrew Lloyd Webber, not Phantom of the Opera. I wish I remembered his middle name. I'm not thinking of it right now, though Andrew Weber is the name, and he has tons of seminars, and they're pretty long. I'll tell the truth, they're pretty long. And he does a lot of information on urine therapy, which personally I have not tried. I am not certain that it's something I really want to do, especially until I clean up my dietary act. Okay? And I'm called to the woods, which is what brings me here now, and I'm definitely called to leave the country. Although there are some things I need to do in this country before I leave, especially before I leave permanently, which actually might be something in my agenda. I'd love to bring you with me, and there's a lot of you that I'm not really ready to let go of those attachments because I have so much love for you, and I've invested a lot of energy into you guys. Although, as I've stated before, I am not responsible for what you do. You can say thank you and pay it forward and all those things. However, everything you do is on you, and that even includes if you choose to make the move to not move. You feel me? Intuition says to mention Einstein's quote to you. What is insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You're going to have to break your comfort zone in order to let go of all your grief and all your pain and all the things that are causing you suffering. I'll tell you the truth, you have to face it one more time. Maybe a few more times, because we're not really fully ready for the entire process of going through this. Though I do know from my own personal experience, in order for me to heal from my past stuff, I had to bring that up. And perhaps my way isn't necessarily the best way or the way for everyone, because there's a lot of circumstances like, yes, what if my future employer, or what if somebody sees this or judges me for that or this or that. I've just chosen to put myself in a space where I want to be surrounded, or I choose to be surrounded by people that will accept me for me and who I am and what I've done, and see the transformation I've done, and those who don't misunderstand me and really understand the strength that is held within me and all that I've gone through. And I'm called to remind you about how diamonds are made under the pressure of mountains. And I'll be honest, I'm not a worshiper of Jesus. I'm not a person that's very educated in the Bible. I almost want to say I'm not a spiritual person. However, I am a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. I do know a lot about religions. Not a lot. However, I know a little. I do value Jesus Christ. And not so much as obsessing about him being a real person, although I do have my own intuitive feelings about that, especially since Edgar Cayce mentioned a lot about him. My intuition kind of tells me most of my information that I know, and I can now differentiate from ego and shadow, which are back to back to another, from my intuitive self. And my biggest thing with Jesus that I will mention, even for all you other, perhaps that was rude or inappropriate, the non-believers. Now, even if Jesus Christ is not a real person, we can still honor him as a prime example of how we can be the best human beings. And we are taught to believe that we are sinners and there's nothing you can do to escape and to be a better person and to be like Jesus. However, I almost find a lot of the biblical references to be a type of brainwashing that conditions you, and yes, that was meant to control the people. And there's a lot of paganism, and not that paganism is a bad thing even, because paganism is about connecting to the earth and understanding your herbs and so many other different things. There's so many misunderstandings of every side of the spectrum. Every religion, there's so much fruit that comes from everyone, yet these structures have been created and it tears us all apart and breaks us up into cultures, okay? This tears us apart. We are all one in our humanity, and it's very important to come together and create a space of love and forgiveness and acceptance, really. Now, there is this space. I feel it heavily, and it is a space of grace that I'm giving to you to meditate on, and that I'm giving to myself too, because all healing is self-healing, and as we help others, we are really helping ourselves. And I have to say that when you find yourself pointing a finger, remember these 3 more are pointing back at you, because what you see in other people reflects you, and who you surround yourself, there is a reflection of you in everyone that you see. Now, intuition calls to me to tell you a bit about my dreams. I had some very empowering, enlightening dreams, and your dreams will tell you so much information. If you are doing drugs and if you're drinking, your dreams will not be as prominent. And yes, I understand about DMT, the spirit molecule, and no, I haven't seen the documentary or anything like that. I'm aware of ayahuasca and the healing properties of that, and I'm not fully shunning all of that. I do see the beneficial factor, and most of all, today's hugest lesson of all, I'm getting tongue-tied, huge lesson, is about the beauty and the darkness. For the darkness is not all bad. There is no good and bad. There is appropriate and inappropriate. However, sometimes the inappropriate can be appropriate because it creates the space for change and for you to understand the contrast and the difference and what it went through to get to the other side of the spectrum. And sometimes we bounce back and forth, and that's technically okay. It's okay. You just have to enjoy the process and find what's good for you. And another huge lesson today is about choosing your side. Are you for the light or are you for the dark? Know your place. Know what you're doing. Be conscious and aware. Are you a worshiper of Saturn and the elite, and would you sacrifice your soul for this mortal existence and for the physical, material treasures and suffer eternally in some essences and have everything you want just to find that that's not really what you wanted, versus the opposite over here? Now that is your choice, and it's a beautiful, strong thing. I wanted to say powerful, however, also known as whatever, or gray. Moving on, continuing. I have a lot of things in my mind and a lot of things I'd like to share with you. The time will present itself when it can. And now, remember, all I can do is speak from my own personal existence. And everyone's journey is different. And I can really only help those who seek to me to help them. And I know there's some of you that have reached out, and I know that at times I have put you on the back burner because I had to put myself first. And I know that seems really selfish. And in some ways it was and it is. though just know that it was part of the process to get me where I can to help you more now. If you find yourself in a position you are spiritually hungry to connect, please do not suppress, do not put this stuff down, do not call yourself a burden and beat yourself up, and know that you know inside what you need to do and who you need to connect with and what you need to do to make things right. For the longest time, I did not have a healthy relationship with my mother, although I'm in this process with her right now that is really magical and enlightening, especially that she is so open and she's in a very healing place right now, as am I. We are very connected and we always have been, and it's really freaky. If I actually told you the story, I'm not sure if I really let that off my chest yet. I might have in the past, and I might bring things up a couple times until I'm fully over and released. This is give up. How funny is that? So there's that. I will say, before I let you go, I'll tell some truth that I've had this belief my entire life. I would like to break down my name meaning, okay? Trina, Trinity, or purity, pure, something, I forgot, unsoiled, or something like that. It basically means clean and pure, so that's Trina. Christine, of Christ. And 3, Mason. You know what the Masons are, right? They go a couple ways. Stone workers. Think about how stones are in our computers and how powerful they are. And energetically, there's a lot of different things going on. I'm feeling that discharge or that frequency of not having that crystal that I just had, and it's kind of upsetting. And I will tell that I have this gift where I can close my eyes and I can visualize. I can almost see where it is. And I'm tempted to go back there. I will definitely go for a walk over there. I'm not guaranteed I'll find it, and I'm not going to get so invested in it that I care that much. Though perhaps I can find it. I forgot what that's called. I'll have to ask my acupuncturist what it's called. People that can close their eyes and tell you where things are in a room. I can do that sometimes when I'm in tune. Now I'd like to go back to the Mason thing and Freemasons. So I know there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I know that there's a lot of hidden agendas, and I want to just say that I think I know what's going on. I'd like to say I know what's going on because I'm speaking from this place in my gut and my heart, and it's all connected and it's all coming out. So I've always had this belief that there's been this battle for my soul, and it's a fight for light versus darkness, and the devil, or the dark, Saturn, Grim Reaper, has been testing me, and all of these bad things have happened to me to try and take me away to the dark side, though I choose to be close to source, and I always have been, and I've always had this magical starlight connection, and I know that I'm here to help people, and I've always believed that this part of me, perhaps a dark evil Mason with the power to do that, or to use my powers for that intent, though I've chosen not to, and it makes me feel like I'm fighting against everything that I don't stand for and that does not serve me, though I am not pleased with that phrase. So I'd have to meditate on that for a little bit. Though I've been called to share these things with you, and it does make me feel very vulnerable and exposed, though I know I'm ever changing. You're going to see me go through all kinds of different processes, and perhaps you're someone that I can talk to about these things, and we can grow together. You know, I haven't ate today. I'm really bad about all that. I did brush my teeth though. Thanks to DJ Kitty Scratch and that awesome Brush Your Teeth song, which I would love to add to one of my playlists, and I would love to make it my routine that I play that as I brush them every day. I love you. I have to go. It's time. I must do what I must do. And it's not easy, and it sucks to be alone sometimes, though I know I'm not necessarily alone. I love you. Bye.